I doubt anybody listening to us talk here today hasn't had the experience where they've been talking on their phone about some topic. I mean, I don't mean typing on their phone. I mean talking on their phone and a bunch of Facebook ads pop up and start trying to sell you the very...
Well, that's not even talking on the phone. That's just talking to your wife. I think we should have the fifth baby. Did you say you want a fifth baby?
Right. That's right. That's right.
Here's what Kiko is running right now.
That's right. Yeah. So I think this notion that you're going to have any privacy is really mythical.
Welcome to the ctrl+alt+disrupt podcast, the technology business podcast from UST, exclusively focused on how technology is transforming lives and reshaping whole industries and businesses. I'm your host, Abel Mathews, one of the enterprise technology solutions leaders here at UST. Now, the big question you may ask is why listen to this podcast? Well, if I told you I could give you 15 minutes with a Fortune 500 executive or an industry revered veteran who was paid millions for the sole purpose of achieving results that mattered not just in the boardroom, but showed up on the balance sheet, would you take it? If your answer is yes, then that's exactly what you're going to get with UST's Ctrl+Alt+Disrupt podcast. So if you're ready, turn up your headphones, sit back, and let's dive into this conversation together. And let me introduce my first guest. He is a 40-year technology veteran, a 3-time Fortune 500 CIO who's built his career across the semiconductor, engineering, and IT verticals. He is the ex-CIO for NetApp, Broadcom Corporation, and Harris Corporation. Speaking out of Melbourne, Florida, William Hurricane Miller. Do you feel that there may be any sort of the hype around the privacy concerns? There's truth to those concerns, right?
Yeah.
The overreach, data access.
Yeah, we're seeing it. You know, one of the things I do is I engage with a number of big company CIOs in a forum that I operate. And we talk about this quarterly. And one of the things we're all concerned about, and think about, Abel, the very nature of every AI platform out there is to ingest and incorporate the most possible data to come out with the best possible correlations and recommendations that platform can generate. I mean, that's just the natural state of affairs.
Yeah.
But also within a corporation, we have tools and platforms that are called role-based access controls, RBAC. Okay, it's an acronym. It's been used for role-based access controls. If I'm an accounting manager, I have certain financial data that I'm entitled to look at that many other people in the business not only are not entitled to look at, they should not be entitled to look at because it could predisclose our quarterly earnings, right? If it got out in the wild. So we have all these role-based access controls. If I'm in sales and I'm a vice president of a region, I have visibility into a lot more data than any individual salesperson has. And there's a reason for that in that roll-up. So the AI tools we deploy are by default wanting to suck all that data in and just present Abel and Bill with all these insights. But we as owners of the platforms and we as managers of the business have to be careful that the wrong people, I don't mean they're bad people, I mean people in different roles, don't get exposed to data that's not appropriate for their roles. And it could even violate audit standards, quite frankly, by getting to, it could be HR data, it could be sensitive personal data that is fine for HR managers and leaders, but it's certainly not fine for somebody working out in the factory floor. So how do we manage the desire to grab all this data in an AI-rich world, feed it to the engines and the tools, but at the same time know when to pull back the reins and make sure that only the correct data is getting processed for those kinds of applications? It's a bit of a conundrum, Abel, and I think we'll see that for some period of time as we try to manage between those two sort of diametrically opposed goals.
Very, that certainly is very interesting. I've never thought of it as AI being hungry to just
Oh yeah,
eager to please.
by
It's
nature.
almost like
Yeah,
AI is eager to please. And so
yeah.
that's a great point. I think the
But
way you described that is great.
let's not end on that notion. There's also the not only the possibility but the probability that there will be nefarious misuse of these systems going forward, right? These systems.
Which is where my mind went first when I asked the
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah. And well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Abel, you need to, I don't know. Maybe you're on the dark side here with.
Change your name.
But what I would say is truly there are, we all know what goes on in the bigger in the real world out there, and there will
Yeah.
be organizations that will bias these algorithms that go out there, and AI can be independently and well orchestrated to give you pure factually based correlations. It can also be weighted and biased to produce the kinds of information that none of us really want to see. Nothing worse than wrong advice that is allegedly flawless because it comes from a machine, right? So I think it's very important, and there is a reason for some healthy skepticism out there. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of companies offer solutions to their customers with that disclaimer: hey, these are early versions of the tool. It's probably not perfect. We're looking for your feedback, and we're asking you to participate as a trusted customer of ours that will give us that feedback and help us improve the tool. So I think there will be some nefarious uses of the technology, but I think when you look at the corporate world and the customers that we value so much, I think it will not be abused in that framework very often. So that's the good news. One thing I want to tell you too, though, is you talked about jobs. You talked about jobs earlier. You mentioned that. And
Yeah, I did mention job.
And I'm glad you mentioned it, because I've talked in the last couple of weeks. I've talked with several young, which is relative to me, almost everybody, but some young Silicon Valley developers for some really big company. I mean, these are, big,
Young
big
like
companies.
myself, young.
Like yourself,
Okay,
young,
thank you.
good looking, intellectual, all those things that go with
That's
it.
the end of the interview. Thank
And-
you. Thank you.
But this is, I'm going to tell you, this is real. A couple of these people work for some of the big, profound companies developing these tools and platforms. And I've had a few of them come to me and say, I don't believe my job will be relevant 10 years from now. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm not talking about a bank teller role here, right? I'm not talking about the kind of role that maybe a paralegal role, right? Where you used to gather a bunch of stuff and format. So I'm talking about major, high-end, sophisticated corporate software developers saying, I don't think my job will be populated by me or anyone else 10 years from now because the software will override it. I'll have to find another job. And these are people who know what's going on in the development of these platforms. Okay, the inner workings and the capabilities that AI can bring to bear in the development frameworks, for example. So there are reasons for people to think deeply about the implications of these big time platforms going forward. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I think going in eyes open and saying, I have to keep myself valuable and skilled up and tooled and keep evolving, because I don't have career guaranteed employment. I'm only as good as the things that I learn and I can do going forward. But it's a very real concern, as I think, Abel, we're going to have to deal with it as a society as much as we have to deal with it as companies. If large blocks of jobs and roles go away, what do those people do? They're educated, smart, industrious people. How do we make sure that they're not left behind in the entire process? It's a very important social question, in my opinion.
Right. And, I don't, this is not me trying to offer up an answer, Bill, but I think as perspective, one of the things that I have taken away, I work in business development, sales entirely.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I have taken away as a learning from my own journey has been never underestimate the transferability of a skill set.
Yeah.
While the core job itself may not exist.
That's right.
There's a skill set that you may or may not have developed or may need to develop that you think may be irrelevant today or have no relevance to what you're doing today.
Yeah.
But the way it translates, it's like a simple example is a couple of years ago, there was no such thing as a data scientist.
Yes.
Now
True.
that role exists.
Yeah.
So now you have courses in universities for the data scientists. Now
Right.
that role probably is not going to exist again in another couple of years.
That's
So
right.
what's it going to be at that point?
It may be that the last bastion of lifetime career guaranteed employment died with the COBOL language. I think that may have been it, the last time we're going to do that. So
That's pretty far back, though.
it's pretty
That's
far
pretty
back.
far
man.
back.
Pretty far back. That's right.
Yeah, no, but I'll take your word for it, right? You've seen quite a bit of it. What are the trends and challenges that you can foresee, or that you think may be completely upending the way we think about and manage data? That's a question for you that I'm going to let you ponder for a couple of seconds here.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you one thing that that really strikes me, and it's more so probably every week that we go forward here, and that is that this notion of any kind of privacy is pretty much mythical. Okay. I mean, there's so much information out there that's being shared about all of us today. I think we thought we'd cross this threshold and we'd have to decide, all right, when is the boundary exceeded of my privacy? I doubt anybody listening to us talk here today hasn't had the experience where they've been talking on their phone about some topic. I mean, I don't mean typing on their phone. I mean talking on their phone, and a bunch of Facebook ads pop up and start trying to sell you the very.
Oh, that's not even talking on the phone. That's just talking to your wife. I think we should have the fifth baby. Did you say you want a fifth baby?
Right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Here's what Kiko has got running right now.
That's right. Yeah. So I think this notion that you're going to have any privacy is really mythical. And I think the other thing that the corollary to that is there's just more and more surveillance all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I mean surveillance, what I'm talking about is video cameras.
Sensors.
Everything is online, captured at every corner, whether you go through the drive-through or whether you go to the 7-Eleven. You're on film. Everybody's on film. All this information is gathered around all of us. And so your privacy is restricted in so many different ways. Digital dollar implications. Am I going to be able to do anything financially anywhere online and not have Big Brother understand what I'm doing? I mean, I think this notion that we are going to have very much privacy is pretty much going to be short-lived. I think we're going to have to learn to be
way to end the episode, Bill. What a positive way to end the episode.
Yeah. Well, look,
took us up there.
Now, having said that, though, I know I made that sound draconian, and I'd had my Darth Vader black.
I joke. It is a reality. It is a scary reality.
It is, but I think for the most part, I mean, the extreme case, it's going to be used for good things. You can't figure out where your kid got left on the corner, and you need to figure out, how your mother-in-law wandered into the subway car and you got separated and where she is. These things are going to help us as a society, but there will be negative aspects and a true loss of privacy as our nations get bigger and our streets get more crowded, and there's more need to manage efficiently and to use this data for positive AI prospecting capabilities. So I think we just have to be aware of that, and that is a victim really of our future in technology. So I think that's a big part of this. And remember, there's Abel, there's going to be a lot more unstructured data too. We talked about video, and we talked about different formats of data. This isn't all a transaction that Abel went and got $200 out of the 24-hour teller machine. It's that continuing flow of information about our lives and where we are and where our car went, okay, and how long it stayed parked where it went, and all those kind of things that are in the databases of the car manufacturers. I think we're going to lose that battle over time, and hopefully the good side of that very much overrides the negative side of that for all of us. But I think it's going to be a victim of the modern era. Would you agree?
I would agree. And, for my personality type, right? I think it's always, but what can I do? What can I do? Right. And
Right.
that's usually like, how do I control this? And to your point, is there control? No, there isn't. I don't think there is. Uh, yeah, I would just agree. I really wish there was a way to resolve and thereby bring a nice loop, nice bow to the conversation, but there isn't. And Bill, before I let you go,
Yeah.
is there a place you'd recommend our audiences reach out to you if they have any further questions, where you're accessible? I know they can find more
Yeah.
insights on you at ust.com
Yeah.
forward slash Miller.
William.Miller at ust.com. Shoot me a note. Love to hear from you, hear your thoughts or any questions you have. Love to. Thank you.
Until the next episode, like I say about the Control Alt Disrupt podcast, keep transforming lives through technology.